Hi and welcome everyone. My name is Kartika Nair and you're watching Synchro Shakti. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe because this is where you get all that magical stuff that's going to take your life from where it is right now to the best version that it can be. So if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe now. Today I want to share with you something about visualization which I knew about, I spoke about, but I didn't talk about in so much detail on my YouTube channel. I talk a little bit about this in my manifestation courses and stuff, but not so much on the channel. So I thought I'd share a little bit about that today. So I usually use, and we all use visualization. I'm sure all of you are doing it every single day, and I know you guys are probably doing it. Now, I use visualization more for my long-term goals and manifestations than the short-term ones. So today I decided to use it for something short-term and see how that would work. So what happened is that earlier today we had yoga class, and in yoga class, as I'm sure you know, those of you who are yoga teachers or yoga students or yogis, I'm sure that you guys have certain asanas that come super easy to you, certain yoga positions, postures, while some of them you kind of dread because it's slightly hard for you, right? So I used to have, actually most of our class was really dreaded this one particular asana called chakrasana. And some of you who are probably in my yoga class and watching this, you guys know how it is, right? So the moment the teacher says let's do chakrasana, now all of us are kind of dreading it. And so chakrasana was one of those asanas. So for the past many years that I've been doing yoga with this particular teacher, we've been doing chakrasana and I could barely do it, in the sense that chakrasana is like tabletop. You put your hands back, fold your legs, and you push your whole body up, and hands go push everything up. So it's basically you're like a tabletop. Okay, so your hands are here, your legs are here, your whole body goes this way. It's kind of more like this, okay, like that. So long story short, for many years I couldn't lift my head off the ground. And obviously, if you can't lift the head off the ground, you're very far away from actually doing that particular posture successfully. So today, it just occurred to me. So since yesterday, me and some of the mindfulness students, we've been doing this present moment challenge, right? Where we're being in the present moment throughout the day. So this morning I was in the moment and suddenly got this flash of insight that, hey, why don't you try visualization for chakrasana to see whether you can improve your chakrasana by visualization alone. And I have in the past done visualization to better myself in yoga. But what I used to do is I used to visualize, but my visualizations were as though me perfecting that was somewhere in the future. It's like I would see myself actually achieving that posture, but it was not embodied in the present moment. It was somewhere else, like someday I will get to that point and I could see myself. And I think that's a mistake we all make many times when we're visualizing. We're just seeing it, but we're seeing it as though it's somewhere in the future. It's not embodied right now in the moment. So I decided to flip that. So I embodied it as though I was in the moment, getting up, pushing my hands up and pushing my body up and doing the posture. But I also visualized how it would feel. And one thing I was specific about when I was visualizing was the relaxed feeling. So I didn't want to struggle and hold it up. I wanted it to be relaxed and calm. And so when I was in the posture, I would feel relaxed and I could breathe, and I was doing it perfectly. Long story short, as soon as I finished embodying it in the present moment. Now remember, I was already in the present moment, which means when you're in the moment, you're in pure awareness, which means there is no identity. You don't have your past, your history, your story, every time that you failed. None of that was there. It's just pure present moment, which means you're in the field of all possibility. That's the present moment. If you live through your past always thinking about that, you're just going to recreate that. If you're worried about the future, you're just going to recreate that. But when you come to the present moment, you're no longer your mind, your identity, your story. You're just awareness in this moment, right? So I was in that quiet state and I embodied that feeling. And at the moment I finished, I just tried it, and my head went off the ground, my body lifted up, and it was really good. And my teacher was like, oh my god. So everybody saw that I actually ended up doing chakrasana pretty decently. I wouldn't say I got it perfect, but for the fact that I couldn't even lift my head off the ground for more than a few seconds, to be able to fully lift up that way, it's unbelievable to me, because I know how much I struggled with chakrasana. Last couple of weeks ago also I had a similar experience where I was at this clinic where they were checking my blood pressure and they needed to get my scores correctly. So I used my mind and instantly increased my blood pressure, and I told them I'm just using the power of my mind. And so I've been doing this for like short-term goals but not so consciously. But what I wanted to share with you guys was, when you come into the present moment, you are tuning into a field of all possibility. When you're coming from your identity, which is the past, you're holding on to how many times you failed, you're holding on to how many, your identity, your belief systems, your perceptions. When you hold on to that stuff, which means you're living in the past, your cells are living in the past, your thoughts are living in the past, your energies in the past, your emotions are in the past. Trying to create a new future is kind of counterproductive, because you're trying to create something new but your whole body is vibrating in the past, right? So learning to be present, coming to the present moment, becoming nobody, being in no time, being nowhere, which is a field of pure potentiality. When you're not living as a conditioned entity, but you're living as pure awareness. You can only be pure awareness when you switch off your mind and you're just completely present to the moment. From there, when you begin to visualize a new feeling, a new future, and embody it in the present moment as though it's real for you now, and you feel the feelings associated with that, including that calm feeling and that accomplished feeling, and then attempt it, you will get a lot further. So imagine if I was able to get so far with this one exercise that I was struggling with for like 6 years or something, in just that one instance of visualizing. Imagine how far I could have gone if I did that every time. So long story short, if you go there in the mind, you go there in the body. Scientists have mapped this out neurologically. Everybody knows the effect of mind over matter. We have seen this innumerable times in athletes, musicians, people who never actually put their fingers onto the instrument to put their actual feet on the track, but did it in their minds. The same parts of the brain fired up and they got results when they actually started playing, or when they actually started performing. The same things happen. So it's like, if you go there in the mind, you go there in the body. This is what I wanted to tell you. You are not a victim to your circumstances. You don't have to, someone emailed me today and said they moved to a holy city so that the gods would bless them, because their lives were disintegrating. They were getting to ill health and bad, money, and circumstances were not going there. We're not realizing that nobody outside of you is going to save you. You can use that, but the one who gets up and rewires themselves for success is you. But you need to stop living in the past, stop living in the familiar reality, and come to the present moment. And once you master this whole present moment stuff, you can become a new person, because you're no longer living as the old person. It is so powerful. Like some of the Living in Freedom co-students, my co-students, instant manifestations. Why? Because the energy of what they wanted was already there in the field of pure potentiality. Everything you want is in that field. All you need to do is switch off your identity, your past, and come into new possibility. And when you master mindfulness, which a lot of people have a completely different understanding of, because the word has been like thrown around a lot, but when you master that, you can come into a state of pure awareness. When you're in awareness, you're no longer your character, your identity, your history, your story, or none of that. None of that doesn't exist. You're just in this moment. When you're in this moment, you can then begin to use your mind instead of your mind using you, which happens if you don't master mindfulness. You can use your mind and direct it into attracting a new potential. So this is basically my little insight for you guys on visualizing. Use this for your exercises, use this for your skills, your studies, to whatever you need to for short-term goals, long-term goals. If you go there in the mind, you will go there in the body. That is my message for you guys. Let me know in the comments below if this was valuable, if you learned something from it. And obviously for those who are interested in this whole present moment stuff and getting out of the problems and traumas of the past and fears of the future, and living as a powerful god on the planet, which means as pure awareness, I have a course for that. It's in the description. It's called Living in Freedom. For those of you who want deeper training, further training, that is the power of being in pure awareness and creating as a new. It's like a brand new sheet of paper. That's how you feel when you live the mindful way of life. So this is what I invite you to think about today. Learn from, grow, and let me know in the comments if you found that valuable. Sending you lots of love. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. I love you all. Namaste.